coronavirus deaths have surpassed 50,000 here in the United States. Despite the staggering number, Americans have lost patience with their local and state governments and the despair that has taken hold of their lives. With the passing of Phase 3.5, will all of the monies for our citizens and companies across the country genuinely get into the right hands? Will it truly make a difference? Or has this virus not only taken the lives of Americans, but also taken away the economic and emotional stability of our country? We will discuss this and more today on the Closet Conservative podcast. I'm your host, Eric Wright. Let's get started. COVID-19 death rates seem to be plateauing across the country, a sign that the tides of this virus may be turning. And maybe, just maybe, our country is winning the war against this disease. From coast to coast, Americans have had enough of state stay-at-home orders and are protesting in cities across the country to reopen businesses and get our national economy rejuvenated once again. On Thursday, House Democrats passed version 3.5 of coronavirus stimulus funding, aimed at ensuring that American business solvency continues despite the pandemic. President Trump on Friday signed the bill into law, and the $484 billion bill is expected to replenish the Small Business Rescue Program known as the Paycheck Protection Program that was spent in the previous package in just 13 days. The 3.5 version also provides funding to hospitals for $75 billion and implements a nationwide virus testing program to facilitate reopening the economy. Across the country, countless small businesses have been non-operational for over a month, leaving many to decide if they will ever be ready to recover or reopen. According to the USA Today, 1 in 4 small businesses are in danger of going under. Folks, that is nearly 7.5 million small businesses that are at risk of closing their doors permanently over the next several months if the coronavirus pandemic persists. From North Carolina to California, Michigan to Texas, Main Street America is but frozen. Small towns are quiet, and the Las Vegas Strip is barren. The virus has encapsulated our country in fear, and for some, apprehension has manifested to aggravation as governors across the nation extend state stay-at-home orders. In Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer extended the state order until May the 15th. In Indiana, laws are extended until May the 30th. Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam has his citizens held hostage until June the 10th, and states like California, Kentucky, Oregon, and West Virginia have left their orders open-ended, telling their citizens that the mandates will stay until the emergency is ended. Despite White House concerns and against the advice of the CDC, the states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Tennessee have announced statewide reopenings of small businesses such as hair salons, boutiques, gyms, and bowling alleys. Some local state leaders within these states are battling with these Republican governors, citing fears of COVID resurgence. I want to shift gears a little bit. Earlier this week on the Liberty Loft, I posted an article outlining how Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden could play a little 3-card Monte if elected president. And in my story, which posted this past Sunday, I referenced a little socialist switcheroo, if you will, in which Joe Biden selects Michelle Obama as his VP candidate and wins the election in November. Within the first few months after assuming the role as commander-in-chief, Biden bows out for clear signs of medical dementia, and suddenly, the Obamas are back in D.C. They are back in the White House with Michelle behind the resolute desk with her husband as the newly appointed vice president. This story spread across our website and social media platforms like wildfire, igniting both debate and dispute. Now let me be clear. Do I really think that Michelle Obama will allow herself to flip her husband's name on their old campaign bumper stickers? Not so much. After all, the Obamas are elitists. They would never allow themselves to play second fiddle to a philandering hand old man like Joe Biden. Unless it meant that Barack Hussein Obama could get another 4 to 8 stranglehold in our country yet again. So what exactly is the likelihood that wannabe Jackie O would even be considered as Biden's VP? Well, it may be too close for comfort. On Friday, Jill Biden stated she would love to see the former First Lady accept a spot as a running mate on her husband's ticket. Except? It does sound awfully eerie to hear Jill Biden say the word except, like Creepy Joe has indeed considered offering Michelle the role. Biden has boxed himself in, and perhaps he's either too dumb or too dementia-ridden to even know it. On March the 15th, Sleepy Joe announced that his VP nod would go to a woman. Any efforts in redirecting or changing his mind on this now would surely doom him with any female voters, and particularly the more progressive voters he so desperately needs to win over if he stands any chance in defeating Trump in November. Let's face it, no secret that Joe is rather fond of the opposite sex. However, within the Biden box of eligible candidates, there lingers a few lunatics for him to pick from. First, California Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, the obvious choice of the party and for Joe to further solidify the African American vote of the Democratic Party. Well, that is, of course, if he doesn't pick the pandering princess herself, Michelle Obama. She, with the Oprah and the socialist veil-wearing women of The View, would make Biden's candidacy and her as the VP nod into a Hollywood sideshow. Next is Elizabeth Warren, who needs no introduction. Before the coronavirus, if you visited a Harrah's Cherokee casino, you may have seen her at home, down on the reservation, smoking a peace pipe and pondering on her failed presidential bid. Pocahontas would be an attractive choice for Biden to secure party progressives. The third is Amy Klobuchar, the Midwestern senator from Minnesota, who shocked me and a lot of other pundits towards the end of her primary season. For Biden, she could help ensure legitimacy in the battleground states of Wisconsin and Michigan. And dead last, for obvious reasons, is Stacey Abrams, the defunct, disingenuous Democrat from Georgia who lost in the 2018 governor's race, but still goes around telling everyone she actually won. For some strange reason, the DNC actually likes Abrams. Shocking, I know. After all, Abrams' experience is mediocre, at best, for her only expertise comes from a 10-year stint in Georgia state politics in the greater Atlanta area. Then again, the DNC has never been too keen on their party's choice for candidates. After all, being a community organizer and a U.S. Senate dropout will get you the nod for president. Funny stuff, huh? As our nation moves out of the COVID-19 panic into actually facing head-on the headaches and heartaches brought on by this virus, we must remember that in just a few short months, our nation will be electing a president. During his tenure, Trump has strengthened and encouraged our country. No longer does the United States bow down to international pressures. No longer is America seen as weak and the whipped dog of the world. The 45th president of our nation has taken our people by the arms, led us down a path of success, and together he will help us catapult over this COVID-19 pandemic. And then, on the other side, you have Joe Biden, a fast-hand delusional Democrat with near dementia who can't even remember what he ate for breakfast, what race he's even running in, and where to take this country. And that, folks, is the massive decision our country will face as we pick up the parts and pieces long after this virus has left our communities. I want to thank you all again for tuning in, and until next time, be anything that you want. Just be American. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Please remember to give a 5-star review and share our podcast with your friends. The Closet Conservative Podcast is a production of the Liberty Loft. Copyright The Liberty Loft, 2020. You can find more shows and information on our website, www.thelibertyloft.com, or any of our social media channels.